people before me. Problem I come across a lot. 5'11" woman. Okay. So, today I'm not going to talk so much about my experience as what I've learned. So, rape is defined by Wikipedia as the crime committed by a man or woman forcing another person to have sexual intercourse with them, especially by the use of threat or use of violence. So, are we all familiar with Urban Dictionary?
Yeah.
Someone on Urban Dictionary. So, rape defined by Urban Dictionary is when you utterly defeat another person in any form of competitive activities. They also offer variations such as rape ace, which is when you do extremely well at something, rape a bitch, which is a phrase popularized by R. Kelly in a situation of extreme excitement to describe what you want to do, and rapeability, used to define the level of rapeability a girl may have. This level is calculated by the girl's looks. If a girl looks a certain way, she may be asking for it. The level of how much a girl is asking for it is defined by her rapeability. So there's over 140 of these definitions that's offered on Urban Dictionary, not including all the tangential definitions like Raposaurus rex and rape-a-goat. Over time, this word has lost its weight and its meaning as a word to describe a horrific crime, and it has instead become a word that is common, that passes through our lips and ears without a second thought. I am sure I too had been guilty of this casual relationship with the word rape until 2 years ago when I was roofied and raped by someone I trusted and considered a friend. It was and is no longer a casual word to me. It has become part of my life, my struggle. I cannot believe how desensitized we as a society have become to this brutal crime, and how through this desensitization we have not only given those who are guilty of rape a free pass by turning our heads and laughing it off, but we have also alienated the victims. I once had a girlfriend. She told me, "I don't believe in rape. If it gets that far, the girl obviously wants it."
Fuck that
2
bitch!
weeks later,
Fuck
I was
that
raped.
bitch! That's stupid.
Believe me, victims of rape or any kind of abuse need no help from a desensitized community finding shame or place blame on themselves. I blamed myself for going out that night. I blamed myself for hanging out with the guy I considered a friend in a dorm room with some of his friends without any of my girlfriends. And I blamed myself for taking that drink. I've scrutinized even my most innocent actions from that evening. Comments like the one from my friend only encourage the self-criticism and self-blame. For how was I supposed to move forward when I was afraid of finding blame and ridicule of something I couldn't even remember? Approaching my senior year in college, my mind is filled with the normal excitement, football season, graduation, spending another year with my friends. But my attack is something I deal with constantly. Because I was roofied, it's not uncommon for me to be triggered by something that I had no idea would be a problem. Like something as simple as a song or a word. But what you don't realize, being on a college campus, is that the one thing that makes you feel most disgusted and disconnected is the mere language that is used around you. I never realized how many insensitive comments my best friends, people that I feel safe and choose to spend my time around, make about rape. Comments such as like, "That test totally raped me," are thrown around with such ease and without a second thought, each time sending a chill down my spine and igniting uncontrollable anger. Because the word rape is casually thrown around, I believe it takes away from the disgust and the impact this word should have, which takes our focus off the people who are the rapists and instead aims our focus off the victims. I'm here to tell you that nothing can leave you with the anger, the sadness, the hopelessness, the disgust, and the hurt that being raped does. So it's time to change our vocabulary. It's time for us to stop. I was raped, and it's part of me. It was not an achievement of that jerk gained, but a traumatic, brutal moment in my life. But it does not define me. The power is in me, in us, not in the animals who committed these crimes, and not in the word that others' dismissal of it. We have the power and the responsibility to stop it. We must remember the only definition of rape is the crime committed by a man or woman of forcing another person to have sexual intercourse with them, especially by threat or use of violence.
shorter. Bella is 18 years old and is a writer for the teen sex education magazine Sex, Etc. She's here today to discuss slut shaming, sex negative messages, and rape culture. Hey.
Something isn't feeling right. My name is Bella. I am 18 years old, and all I want out of life is Chipotle and cunnilingus. What I do not want out of life is rape. This attire? Not asking for rape. I am a femme, sex-positive feminist, and a writer for the teen sex education magazine Sex, Etc. You can find me on Facebook at Bella Meow, Tumblr, of course, at Feminist Fashionista. I am here today to discuss slut-shaming, sex-negative messages, and rape culture with my first published piece from Sex, Etc. Slut-shaming. The first time I was slut-shamed was in the 2nd grade. This behavior is so pervasive in our society to the point that even I'm guilty of slut-shaming many people many times. In reality, this behavior is not only harmful to the recipient, but to society as well. Why is it that childhood skirts are open invitations for sexual harassment at the mere height of 4 feet tall? Slut-shaming is the practice of shaming, victimizing, and / attacking one's self-expression by the way the shamer perceives it to be inappropriately sexual. When slut-shaming, we're immediately putting down anyone who chooses to express their sexuality in a way which we may disagree with. Consider a slut. Does this meet your criteria of a slut? Here at SlutwalkDC, and everywhere else for that matter, I encourage everybody to embrace and reclaim their inner slut. But slut-shaming is when I do not welcome that word. When I do not welcome it, you shame and condescend me for my sexuality. You are then implying that sexuality is taboo, that we, in 2012, cannot talk about sex. When we slut-shame, even in the most lighthearted of humor, we're telling people that it's not okay to be comfortable with yourself. In 2002, Cody Braxton was the first to slut-shame me. He looked up my favorite skirt. When I asked him about what he did, he nonchalantly said to me, "Well, you were the one that wore the skirt." While he didn't directly call me a slut or mention anything that's specific to my sexuality, he was implying that wearing a skirt is inherently sexual. And then he blamed me for it. His explanation made me blame myself. In 2003, when I was 8, a 9-year-old neighborhood boy regularly harassed me at the bus stop. When I confronted his mother about his behavior, she simply told me that he probably just has a crush on you, or he's just teasing you, and my personal favorite, boys will be boys. His mother, a fellow female, she could have been me. She grew up on this apathy. His mother evolved from feeling apathy to delivering it. A man who does not accept a no in a non-sexual situation is a lot more likely to not accept a no in a sexual situation as well. Her apathy was trivializing his harassment. No matter how many times I said no to him, his behavior was cute and his behavior was okay. But I'm sick of this apathy. I am sick of people excusing rapists and abusers and assaulters. I am sick of people saying it's okay to slut shame and not having any problems with it. I am sick of victims having to feel shame and tiptoe on broken glass, because you know who should feel shame? Rapists! You know who should be tiptoeing on broken glass? Rapists! The effect of slut-shaming, direct or indirect, is huge. The awful truth is that many people still see attacks of slut-shaming the way I did when I was 7. When being slut-shamed by another, many people are apathetic. Many people are okay with it. Some even laugh along. When slut-shaming another person themselves, they find it funny or lighthearted. Why are people this way? I'd like to think it's because they don't realize what effect slut-shaming can have. they often don't realize slut-shaming when it's being done to them. Were it not for my fiery feminism or my love of sociology, I would probably be okay with slut-shaming too. What's most wrong about this all, however, is that it's not our fault for feeling this way towards slut-shaming, and it's really not our fault for feeling this way about slut-shaming others. This behavior isn't just hurting other people, it's hurting you. It's hurting me, your mother, your cousin. It's hurting everyone. By classifying all sex as bad sex, we're shaming others out of taking pride in their sexuality, whatever way it is that they choose to express it. Slut-shaming, at its very core, is a sex-negative message, which can cause us to keep people from asking questions about sex and communicating with their sexual partners. These sex-negative messages are shaming sexuality the exact same way that we have shamed sluts. As a result, we're discouraging sex-positive messages, which in turn leads to people participating in safer sex. Now, how does slut-shaming and sex-negative messages contribute to rape culture? There is really no better way to explain this sentiment than to quote the blog Sex Positive Activism. Sex-negative messages don't keep people from having sex. They keep people from having good sex. They keep people from having pride in their sexuality, from sexual self-awareness. They keep people from asking questions about sex and communicating with their partners. Sex-negative messages discourage experimentation. By framing all sex as this undifferentiated mass of bad, the lines between consensual sex and rape are blurred. Can you believe that it's been almost a year since the shaming policy of don't ask, don't tell has been overturned? Alyssa Royce proposes a new policy in her TED Talk, Ask and Tell. She says that other people's sexual behavior has no impact on us, so why should we engage in slut-shaming behavior or sex-shaming behavior? Within our own comfort, let's ask questions about sex and let's tell our answers. Ask and tell. Let's be open about sex and talk about all the various aspects of it. Using my second grade example, we can tell that shaming is an outward experience, an external force, something that is almost impossible for us to have control over. Perhaps if we start viewing our own sexuality as normal, maybe we can become more accepting of others. It's a long, hard road, I'll admit, but wouldn't it be worth it? Wouldn't it be worth it to have sex positivity in this society? Wouldn't it be worth it to stop and examine how our sex-negative and slut-shaming behavior could affect others? How it could affect ourselves? I'd like to think so. And I don't think there is a better place to start doing this than at the SlutwalkDC 2012. Thank you.